Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today as we kick off a new 6-part micro-webinar series with data quality company Melissa. We'll talk about the importance of identity verification to help keep your data clean. Today, specifically, we'll be talking about how to streamline identity and document verification. And with us is Jeffrey Jones. He's a sales engineer at data quality company Melissa, which I just said. How you doing, Jeffrey?
I'm doing all right. How are you, David?
I'm good. Okay, so let's start by talking about the importance of electronic identity verification and maybe how organizations streamline that effort through document scanning, authenticity checks, things like that.
Okay, thanks, David. Identity verification, and specifically today we're going to be talking about document scanning and document authenticity checks, the kind of technical checks you need to do when you need your ID for any sort of process or onboarding process with the company. And and our part in that is automating the document checking process. So not only that, we also have some knowledge-based authentication tools, but today we'll be talking about the document scanning. So, traditionally with authenticating identity documents, you would need to either, submit those documents, you submit scans, or maybe you have an in-person appointment, that sort of thing, to come in and have somebody look at your document and say, yeah, okay, that's a good document. The data here looks good. It's valid. And not only that, but, checking for watermarks, checking, all these technical checks that you need to know how to look for to really make sure that an ID document is authentic. And, that's a challenge in the US. It's a challenge all over the world. And that's why we have tools that help you automate that process, not only in the US, but, around the globe. And so you have unique challenges and checks you need to do, because they're not going to have the same type of documents, and they're going to have multiple versions of those documents. So, the alternative to using our, automatic checks and our, programmatic checks is to have an expert that can do that in every one of those countries. And so that's very time consuming. That's very expensive. And, further, it creates a blocker for your customer. Your customer needs to do that before they can get started with you. And, that's going to cause them to think twice, because they have to go through this whole process to get that done. And they need to come in for an appointment. They need to scan all their documents, that sort of thing. And that's a whole hurdle that they need to overcome. Exactly. And so what you can do is use Melissa ID, which, we can send out a link to your client after you set your profile and all your preferences. You can even prompt them for utility bills or that kind of thing, and they can get prompts in the app that you just send them a link to download, and it takes minutes to get all of this done. So on their end, they're like, okay, I'm interested in banking with you, or maybe I want to be on your online gaming platform, so I can for gambling or anything that requires these documents. So to prevent these blockers of getting all this done, send out the link. They use their smartphone. Just about everybody has it, and they just need an internet connection, and they'll open it up. They'll get these prompts. Hey, we need your document. Hey, you need to get these documents together and ready. Maybe just your driver's license. Maybe you want a passport, or maybe you want to give them both of those options. And then so they'll start scanning, and in addition to scanning their documents, we do liveness checks, and to ensure that that's actually the person that is on that document. Comparing it to the image, doing biometric checks, and even having advanced checks like aging. So if their document is a bit older than them, or maybe they've changed their hairstyle, that sort of thing, it's not going to throw the algorithm off. And if anything does look a little bit off, we can alert you and let you know that, hey, you need to review the submission or you can automate the whole thing and only take in the best submissions with high quality scans and where everything looks good.
Is that an ongoing thing, or is that something that is done up front before the data comes in, and then once it's in, you assume it to be good, or are you looking at it periodically, as you said, in case somebody sends you one document, let's say a photo of themselves, and then they change their look 2 years later? Does that kick off a process, or how does that all work?
No, so that would happen all at the onset or at the onboarding process. So they have their document that they're scanning, and they'll have to put their camera up and look at their face with the camera, and so we'll take that, we'll capture that, and on our end we'll do some processing to compare it to that document image that they've given to us. And so if there's some difference between the document that they look like, it should still be able to identify the biometrics and all of the important features that really help you identify a person. So
yeah, years ago I wrote an article. I was just going to say, years ago I wrote an article with you guys talking about how data is every company's dirty little secret, that they don't want to talk about the problems that they have in their database because it might make their business look bad or whatever else. And so it's really critical, I guess, for organizations to make sure that their data is constantly clean and up to date and accurate. And if you do it during the onboard, that's fine. But as I guess I was trying to get out a little down the road, is that something that the company is obligated to check every once in a while to make sure that the data still remains the same and is still good? Or how does that kind of work?
Yes and no. So for identities in particular, identity documents, those expire, right? So we do have in our tools to automate alerts and notifications to let you know, hey, this person's document is going to expire. You need to prompt them for another document, or maybe you want to automatically do that and prompt them for an updated document.
Right, similar to how
so
if I go shopping.
Like
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that's similar to the prompts I guess we get if you upload a credit card, for instance, into something to use it to pay in Amazon or whatever, and then it expires, and you get a new credit card in the mail, but you'll get a prompt from the company saying that you have to update your information now because your credit card expired. So I guess that's how.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm. It's pretty much the same deal there. So, now, sorry, 1 second. And so with this, this ultimately is helping you to improve the customer experience. Now, in addition to this just being more efficient and probably less costly, with having less manpower required to do these kind of checks and less expertise, you provide a process that the new generation of customers trust probably more than these manual checks that you might have to do. And so that trust is really important. And the convenience, of course, of being able to do this within minutes over your smartphone, that is for the newer generation of customers and our tech savvy customers out there.
Right.
And part of this ongoing process is due diligence as well. And all of that is, automated. If you want to do your due diligence reports, where, you're going to have audits for, anti-money laundering, and, regulations that a lot of financial institutions need. So we create a document trail automatically for that kind of concern. So that's part of streamlining this whole process. And that's a very important integral part of that process.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's about all the time we have for this introductory micro webinar. Jeffrey Jones, sales engineer at Melissa. Thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I'd like to thank our listeners for being with us as always, and to remind you that episode number 2 will be presented on September the 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we hope you'll join us for that one as we continue to look at digital identity verification. So until next time, I'm Dave Rubenstein, Editor-in-Chief of SD Times. So long for now.
Thanks, David. Thanks, everyone.